No Hands Out here again, more current events. And this one at first blush might not look like a hell of a lot, but to those of us who understand the Constitution, it is. And that's a situation in North Carolina where the legislature recently met. And I say legislature, this was the Republican legislature, the Assembly, I guess. And they met without inviting the Democrats to the show, and also apparently advising them that there would be no votes taken during this, I guess, what was a special session. But it turns out what really happened was that they voted to overturn the veto of the governor on the state budget. Now, that's a big deal item. And by the way, this occurred on 9/11, for crying out loud. The Democrats are all out there going to, memorials and things for the victims of 9/11, and the GOP apparently encouraged them, and said, "Don't worry, we're not going to take any votes." And then they did exactly the opposite. Now, this gets into a very interesting issue. Those of you that follow my videos and my teachings, and by the way, while I'm thinking about it, for information on my modestly priced constitutional defense document packets, send an email to youwinnincourt@gmail.com. This is racial representation, and it's a big deal. It goes hand in glove with the Republican form of government. And what they just did there has the possibility of getting before the 9-0 farts, aka the U.S. Supreme Court. Whether they'll bring it in the same way that I would is an open question. I doubt it, but at least it's in the area where we're going to get some discussion on issues like this. Because in the North Carolina House, they have 120 members, and the rule they have there is you need 3/5 to override a veto, which they wouldn't have gotten had the full 120 been there. But they only had, I think, 65. And 3/5 of that, if you do the math, is 39. Not the 72 that it would have taken had the full membership been there. And 39, my gosh, that number is about a third of the number of the representatives in the House. And I'm having a hard time defining that as a quorum to do business. That is a huge, big deal. More so in Washington, D.C., and it's even more ridiculous there. Just real quickly, so you know, Article 1, Section 2, Clause 3 says that the maximum amount of ratio between inhabitants and representatives is 30,000 to 1. And by the way, you can check out, I've done a video on racial representation. You want to check this out. It says a lot more about this. But that said, and I'm not saying it should necessarily be 30,000 to 1 in the state legislature. Even if it's a bit more than that, that might be acceptable. That's a question for another day. But Congress, at the present time, as you probably know, has 438 members in the House of Representatives. Now, if you do the math, and we have over 300 million inhabitants today, how many representatives should we have in that House of Representatives? Simple math. Fourth graders are going to get this one. Over 10,000. And there's nothing close to that. We don't even have 5%. And yet half of that number, 220 to 218, which is a little more than 2.5%, can pass whatever laws they like, subject to a veto by the president, of course. But 2.5%, does that sound like a representative government to you? Is that what a Republican form of government looks like? 2.5% can make laws that apply across the country? Damn, maybe I'm missing something here, but I don't see it. So that's the situation we have in the Democrats. They haven't, as far as I know, yet. It just happened the other day, but filed suit. But they might, and they may be able to file directly in the U.S. Supreme Court. And it's a very interesting issue, and I'd love to see what comes of this. And I'm almost prepared to say you're going to see a split opinion here, either 5-4 or 6-3. And there's going to be a bitter dissent on the other side. Probably the liberals, who would have no problem with what was done there. But anyway, I'll keep tracking this issue. I'll keep you updated on it and get back to you when events develop. That said, like my videos, subscribe, tell your friends, and send me an email at youwinnincourt@gmail.com. I'll send you information on my materials and you're going to love it, especially with the events in the Oakland case. Check out my video I just did on that case. You're going to love that one too. Thank you.